And good evening, this is Bob W6CJX, and I'll be your net control operator for tonight's Papa Great Outdoor Net. This net meets every Sunday evening at 8 p.m. Pacific. This is a directed net, so please go through net control at all times, and your cooperation is always greatly appreciated. Stations with emergency or priority traffic can come into the net at any time with a double break, and net control will respond appropriately. The Papa system is an open membership-supported system in the Southern California area with coverage from the Mexican border to Paso Robles and from the Channel Islands to Las Vegas, Nevada. If you're a visitor to the Papa system tonight, I invite you to go to papasys.com, that's PAPASYS.com, and register as a guest. With your guest registration, you'll have 45 days of free access to the Papa system. At the end of your one-time 45-day guest access period, we'd love for you to become a subscribed member, continue to use the Papa system on a daily basis, and be part of the Papa system family. However, all amateurs are welcome to participate in the daily, weekly, and monthly Papa system nets regardless of their membership status. Again, this is the Papa system Great Outdoor Net. And good evening, everybody. W6CJX here in the Papa System Great Outdoor Garage. That sounds like a reality show on A&E or something. Hope everyone's having a great weekend so far. Beautiful weather again. I guess winter might be kind of coming back, but I have a feeling it's just going to be spring showers, let's hope for. And with that, let's see. Let's get into some announcements real quick, and then we'll get started with the net. So stand by.
Here is the Papa System weekly calendar for the latest news and upcoming events. Coming up soon, the Papa Inland Empire Breakfast. Papa will be meeting on Saturday, April 11th at the Mill Creek Cattle Company in Mentone, California. Also on the same day, the Papa Valley Breakfast. Papa will also be meeting on Saturday, April 11th at 7:30 a.m. at Lulu's Restaurant in Van Nuys, California. Ham license testing will be available at both of these Papa System events. As always, the Papa Quick Start program runs in conjunction with all our test sessions and is a benefit for newly licensed technician class ham radio operators. Please see the Papa website for more information. You are encouraged to check in on the Papa System Wednesday night, New Hams Net with Steve, KI6LOV, at 7 p.m., and let him know that you were part of the Quick Start program. The USS Midway Museum radio team, NI6IW, will also be on the air on Saturday, April 11th from 0900 to 1600 Pacific Time. Check the Papa website for all of the different modes and operating frequencies. On Sunday mornings, we have the Papa Simplex Net at 7 a.m. with your host, Evo K06BKX. This is a great place to see how well you can reach other stations in your area without using a repeater. See the Papa website for more information. All this information and a whole lot more can be found on the Papa website at papasys.com.
Okay. Sounds like we're having a little bit of internet weather. Maybe you guys aren't hearing it, but I am. So I'll take comments as we go. And let's see if we can keep it under control tonight. Any other announcements before we start the net tonight? Please come now. Okay, hearing nothing. We will continue with the net. Let's see. Tonight, what else we got going on? We've got, we got that Inland Empire Breakfast. That's coming up a couple weeks from now, and we'll take care of that and add things to it if we need to. And I believe our trail consultant, Steve, trail reporter, is got something for us, some tales from the trail tonight. So let's see if Steve's out there. KI6LOV, what you got, Steve? Welcome.
Well, good evening, Bob, and everyone out here on the Great Outdoor Net. Yeah, this is Steve, KI6LOV, fresh off the trail. Had a fabulous time out in Big Santa Anita Canyon this weekend, and I'll save some of my bigger stories for another production, perhaps. But since Well, I'll just mention first that regarding the Big Bear Bald Eagle Cam, the PIP watch, meaning hatching of the 2 eggs, is set to begin on Tuesday. So we'll all be watching to see if we can see the first little cracks form there from the inside, and we'll see how that goes. Hopefully, we'll have 2 young eaglets before too long. I also wanted to mention, since rattlesnakes have been in the news, I know Bob talked about that last week, I wanted to mention that if you have a dog or dogs that you take with you on hikes out on the trail, they are apt to meet up with the snake before you do. And the reason I bring this up is I met up with a hiker on the trail this morning who had a little kind of a schnauzer-looking dog, and it was off-leash, not my favorite thing, but it was a well-behaved dog, and it was way out in front of him. And I mentioned to him about the snakes, and he told me that his dog has been to school to recognize rattlesnakes and know how to deal with them and back off and stand and wait. So if you have a dog that you know you're going to be taking out on the trail repeatedly, perhaps you should look up one of those schools and get your dog trained. And not only that, they throw in training for the human as well. I don't have anyone to recommend. I just looked up and I saw that there were many of such training sessions to be found out in Southern California. All right, as an old guy hiker, one of the things that I do is I use trekking poles. And I started this a few years back. I resisted for many years, but they are very beneficial in utilizing a little added support for some safety along the trail. And one thing we old guys don't want to do is fall down. So I make sure that every step I take is planned, and I do not take anything for granted, and I hope you won't either. And make sure that you're paying attention when you're out on the trail. And one last thing about my hiking poles, which I bought way back in the 90s. These are aluminum trekking poles with a little spring-loaded kind of shock absorber in them. I bought them, as I said, back in the 90s, and they were not cheap even back then, over $100 for the set. And they were, as I think I mentioned, built in the Czech Republic, and they were endorsed. And extra credit for anyone who knows this name, endorsed by Reinhold Messner. So if you know who Reinhold Messner was, or perhaps still is, let me know. You can send me an email at mycallsign@yahoo.com, or you could just shout it out here on Bob's Net. All right, everyone, stay cool, stay hydrated on the trail. This is KI6LOV. Back to you, Bob.
Some excellent points, Steve. Definitely. Yeah, the training for dogs is really, really important. If you're taking your dog anywhere out of the yard, and some dogs that are in the yard may also encounter rattlesnakes, as Carolyn's sisters did, and they had a snake fence, everything. But the snake got in, bit the dog, and the dog passed. So that was very sad. And the other note is that the lady that we were talking about last week was about 5 days in the hospital, and she passed with her injuries. And she was only in their 40s, I think. But they did everything they could. They airlifted her and got her in the hospital. And we had one others, I think it was a 25-year-old man in Orange County. I think it died early March from being bitten in February. So that's 2 of them at least. That's not been good, not good outcome. And of course, if you've watched any of the, or looked at any of the Facebook page or social medias, they all are posting snakes everywhere. So please, please, please be careful. All right, yeah, Reinhold. I don't really. I know the name, but I don't remember exactly what he's noted for. I know Leakey or Lecky that used to make the poles too, and they had trekking poles back in the 90s. Wow, that is amazing. I don't think I got mine till the 2000s. W6CJX for the Papa System, Great Outdoor Net. Thank you, Steve. As always, thank you. We always get together and talk a little bit about what we're doing on the nets and stuff, and I think it adds quite a bit. And tonight's net, I don't know if a few of you might have saw on Facebook, I usually publish it a little bit early. Wanted to talk about climbing. I know we have a lot of climbers that have been out there, whether they're here tonight or not. And there's some really cool, notable stuff out there that's, even if you're not, I'm not a climber, I don't care. Well, it's pretty interesting stuff, and especially a guy that I want to kind of, well, not talk about tonight, but just let you know about him. I thought it'd be worthy of mention, who's just probably about the best climber I think there is in the world. So when we get into that, let me get into what the heck do we have tonight? I actually don't know. I think it might be Andrew. Well, let's find out and see what he has for us tonight. Take it away.
Good evening to everyone on the Papa System Great Outdoor Net tonight. This is Adam. I will be your Papa System AI research host for this evening. So here's a little history and the evolution of rock climbing. The technical revolution, 1930s to the 1960s. This era saw the introduction of specialized gear that made harder climbs possible. The Iron Age, the advent of pitons, metal spikes that are driven into cracks, and with the use of carabiners became a standard climbing practice. This allowed for climbing aids, where the climber could pull themselves up using the gear. Yosemite's golden age. In the 1950s and 60s, Yosemite Valley became the world climbing epicenter. Legends like Royal Robbins and Warren Harding pioneered multi-day big wall climbs on El Capitan and Half Dome. The Yosemite Decimal System, also known as YDS, was developed to grade the difficulty of climbs, ranging from Class 1, which is basically just walking, to Class 5, which is technical rock climbing. The modern era, 1970s to present day, clean climbing. In the 1970s, climbers moved away from pitons, which damaged rock, toward removable nuts and cams, giving birth to traditional climbing. Sport climbing. The 1980s saw the rise of pre-drilled bolts, allowing climbers to focus on extreme physical movements without the fear of a long fall. This pushed the climbing grades into the 5.14 and 5.15 range. Mainstream growth. The invention of indoor climbing gyms in the late 80s and 90s democratized the sport. In 2021, rock climbing made its debut at the Tokyo Summer Olympic Games. Where did the term dirtbag come from? The term dirtbag in rock climbing is not an insult. It's a badge of honor. It describes a person who abandons a traditional pursuit of a career and material comfort to dedicate their entire life to climbing. Someone else mentioned that it could also have been derived from the chalk bags that climbers use to keep their hands dry. Well, there you go, Bob. A little history on rock climbing. Have a great net tonight. This has been Adam with the Papa System Great Outdoor AI Research Center. And now back to W6CJX Net Control.
Well, thank you, Adam. I was close. It started with an A. So Andrew, Adam, I get those confused. And I thought, it's pretty cool. Some of you may not know the Dewey Decimal System. It's not called the Dewey Decimal System. It's the Yosemite Decimal System. And it's interesting because it was a part of my young life. I grew up, in one of the meccas of rock climbing up in the San Jacintos Mountains with Tockwitz Rock, Suicide Rock, and quite a few other little ones in between. And it was quite an honor to live there and to live. I didn't really live the life as a climber, but I kind of inspired to be, and used to watch them from my back patio with a pair of binoculars. It was very easy to see everyone. So it was good and a lot of fun. And so I thought, let's see, I'm going to go ahead and take a few check-ins now, and then we'll highlight a gentleman by the name of Alex Hanold. It's kind of a funny way to saying it, but it's the way it's pronounced, and it's spelled Honnold. And he's a free soloing legend. So you might look him up a little bit while we're waiting, and let's take some check-ins and see who's out there tonight. W6CGX for the Papa System Great Outdoor Net. We're talking climbing. It can be ice climbing, rock climbing, building climbing. Maybe. Let's see who's there. Goodbye. Come by. Sit a spell.
Yeah, 4PQH, Ron.
6WLE.
W6WJ, Jeff. WD6UFN, Darren.
Kilo 6 Hotel November Golf.
November 6 Hotel Alpha Lima.
Okay. Got a good round there. And let's see. I think I got everybody. We'll go with what I have, because that way we at least get through a few. I don't know how many of everyone is rock climbing or not and all that. We'll see, but it's definitely an interest. I like watching it. That's where I'm at this point in my life. Let's say hello to Andrew, W6ALB. What's going on, Andrew, and welcome from Tucson.
Yeah, good with everybody at 6LB. Yeah, I just got a question for Adam out there. I didn't get his call sign.
No, he was third-party traffic through my station, so I was under control of that.
All right, well, I appreciate it much. Yeah, I like rock climbing myself and Caribbean knots and stuff, and Caribbeans and all that stuff. But apparently Adam out there knows the stuff out there, so it'd be kind of interesting to hear some more of him. Thank you, Bob, W6LB.
Yeah, he's kind of the authority on some of this stuff, I guess. He seems to be anyway. Knew more than I knew, but I was kind of wondering how that decimal system for the climbing, and that's grading the type of climb, how the difficulty of the climb. So it goes from walking to aided climbing to, I guess, solo climbing, which is without any gear. Well, sometimes. Let's say hello to Ron, KF4, P, Q, and an H. Welcome, Ron. Good pictures I saw today. Really loved those. Those were awesome.
Good evening, Bob and Annette. This is KF4PQH, Ron, coming in from Locust Grove, Virginia. Glad you enjoyed those pictures. For those of you who may not be aware, today is National Vietnam War Veterans Day. And for any of my brothers and sisters out there, welcome home. But I posted some stuff on my Facebook page from 57 years ago. I was a kid. So you know how they say, ooh, Mr. Connor. And when I keyed up before to announce that I was going to be on here, I wasn't sure if you heard me because I'm coming in on All Stars, so sometimes I don't get through. But I found out who Reinhold Messner is. So Steve threw that out there. So he was an Italian who was from South Tyrol, where they speak German. But he was quite a climber, so people might like his sticks. He happens to be 81 years old now. But he was the first to climb all 14 8,000ers without supplemental oxygen, and the first to climb Mount Everest without supplemental oxygen. And I'm sitting here at 78 years old, breathing hard, just walking to the bathroom. And I did try a little indoor wall climbing one time, but my BMI causes me issues also. So everybody stay safe out there, be kind to someone, and this is KF4PQH 73 back to net control.
Well, aren't you the little student tonight? That's very impressive, Ron. I like that. Well, no, I remember the name Reinhold before because we did trekking poles a couple weeks back, or gosh, I don't know, whenever it was. And I think he was one of the main early designers, too, of that. Could have also been the designer of the shoes. I don't remember the Vask shoes. But, yeah, very good. I love that information. Good feedback. Everyone can bring in information. That's what this is all about. Is just share, stuff about the great outdoors. And, well, happy Veterans, Vietnam Veterans Day, I guess is the best way to put it. And absolutely love those pictures. It put me there, I mean, as far as it could put you there in a picture. But I was really studying each one of them, and I just thought they were great. Well, thank you, Ron, and thank you to Andrew, too, before. I don't know if I thanked him or not. I got all carried away there. Kind of listening to the audio, too, because it seems like I was cutting out earlier. So I guess we're good now. All right, Ron, thanks. Say hello to Dee, and let's say hello to Greg, KK6WLD. We'll see. I don't know if you're coming in on 6 tonight. No, you're probably not. Let's see what you're coming in on 15.
KK6WLD here, coming in on Papa 15, although I briefly thought about coming in on 6. The Heterodyne is pretty strong, so I might actually make it without the beam. But haven't heard any internet dropouts down here on 15. You've been pretty good, and the signal is good enough to hear the digital distortion there on Adam, Andrew, whoever he was. Not much of a climber. I think the extent that I get into it would be just scrambling over boulders. Nonetheless, it's fun for me and doesn't require too much extra gear. And I think that's about it from San Diego. So back over to you, Bob. KK6WLD, Greg via Papa 15.
Well, I like bouldering too. I did a little bit of that up in Idlewild. We'd get little just and the Joshua tree is good for that. There's some big rocks I think out there. It's been a long time since I've been to Joshua tree, but that's kind of a popular sport out there too. Putting down some mats so that when you hit the ground, it's not quite as hard. And just kind of bouldering, going up some of these small cracks, and just practicing and good exercise and stuff before. But this gentleman I'm leaning towards, want to talk about tonight, Alex Honnold, he is, wow, you got to see this movie that he did, documentary. For anyone that doesn't even care about climbing, and I have no promotional or any affiliation, neither does the Papa System, but I believe it's on Netflix, called Free Solo. And, geez, I didn't know if he was going to make it to the end or not, but I won't give it away. All right. Thank you so much, Greg. Always a pleasure. My regular. Hey, I can finally say I'm regular. KO6LQJ Jeff. What's going on in Burbank tonight? And say hello.
Hey, hello, Bob. Thanks for doing the net. Hey, so you mentioned climbing, and I immediately thought of one of my favorite movies from when I was a kid called The Eiger Sanction with Clint Eastwood. And I learned later, fun fact, that he actually climbed on that for the production, did most of his own stunts. So that's doubly impressive. But anyway, back to net, and thanks again, KO6LQJ.
Jeff, you know what that means? You get the bell. Because I was kind of holding out for that movie. That was one of my favorite movies. I would watch it again in a heartbeat if I could find it. Somewhere out there, I'm sure. And wasn't that a great movie? Great star, great everything. A lot of adventure and danger and all that kind of good stuff that makes a good movie. Yeah, Eiger Sanction. Well, you get the bell because that's the one I was gonna kind of wait for someone to say. I think that was neat. And you won. KD6LLB, another winner in the family. Logan, what's going on tonight? And welcome.
This is Logan, Kilo Delta 6, Lima, Bravo. Good evening, everyone, and thanks for doing the net, Bob. So climbing. I actually have a real fondness for climbing, even though I didn't really take it up seriously at all. But when I came to Los Angeles and went to UCLA, I met some people, actually took a backpacking class, which is not something that I would have ever thought of doing. But I joined a group out of UCLA, and the instructors were very just great people that had recently graduated from a university in Colorado. I don't know which school, it may have been Colorado University there. And they were the first people that I had met who had degrees in outdoor stuff, whatever the title was. And so I went on a backpacking trip with them and a large group of people, and I'd say most of us became friends and started backpacking, and then went climbing with the same folks, and that turned into something very, very great. So the kind of climbing that I did was basically going out to Joshua Tree or to Stony Point or, various places around. And it was sort of sport climbing. I learned a little bit about setting my own protection and all that, but I never actually did it. I'd never done a lead climb or anything. But, I did go with some other friends to the Sierras and climbed some walls, but again, I was not lead and I was not setting my own protection. I was relying on very skilled people. And an interesting thing happened about maybe 6 months ago. I met up with some friends that I had known going back to the 90s, and I knew they were climbers. Well, they had actually become pretty committed climbers and had made their life, their income is now based on coaching and teaching and leading trips, and it was really interesting to hear those guys talk. So anyway, I guess my connection to climbing is I had a lot of fun, camping in Joshua Tree and hanging out with people who went on to take it much more seriously. It's not my sport, but I sure do appreciate, I feel like I can understand why people are so drawn to it. If nothing else, the place and the kind of dirtbag community. Anyway, I think it's great, and I guess that's it. All right, thanks again, Bob. Kilo Delta 6, Lima, Bravo. Back to net.
Didn't you always want to be called a dirtbag? I think that would just be, you dirtbag, you. People would be like, what does that mean? And really, for years, I thought it meant the chalk bag that, I had a chalk bag once. I had everything once. Oh, man, but I only used it a little bit. I'm kind of like you. I was enamored at climbing, and like I said, it was a big part of where I lived and grew up. So, everyone you kind of met were climbers, people from Switzerland, people from all over the world would come to Idyllwild there to do that. And we do have a Papa member out there that's climbed up in Idyllwild, and I'm hoping he gets on tonight, Rick DGX. I found my Climber's Guide to Tahquitz and Suicide Rocks, and by Chuck Wiltz, and that came out in 1973, I think. And I looked up the Vampire, which is something he's climbed, and I don't know if he has a very good memory. I mean, not the memories meaning fun memories of it, I'm not sure, but I did find it, and it has the grading system. So I thought if he checked in tonight, we could chat about that. So thank you so much, Logan, as always. And it's one of those fun things that's they don't really have it as a sport where you can go to see it. So I guess you could go to Yosemite and watch people climb. I mean, people do it all the time, right? So maybe I'll retract that statement. Darren, WD6USN. I don't know if he's ever climbed anything but towers. Well, let's find out. Darren, are you there? And welcome to the Great Outdoors.
Well, good evening, Bob. Yes, my life started climbing rocks. I think that's where some of my tower skills come from, and really the rope handling skills do carry over between rock and some of the tower climbing that I do for Papa. But most of my early 20s were spent rock climbing through the Izu Peninsula of Japan, and you mentioned the Yosemite decimal system, really the American grading system. I was able to achieve up to 512As on live rock, which is, I always found gym climbing and rock climbing, the grading criteria were not the same, but 512A on live rock was tough. On your post for the Facebook page, I shared a photo of me in my early 20s climbing through the Izu Peninsula. For folks that have Facebook, you can see it there, but that was a great day. You'll notice my hands are all taped up because we were doing a lot of crag and crack climbing. And when it comes to crack climbing, your hands become a piece of protection where you pretty much stuff them in a crack and make a fist, and you hang off your expanded hand as a piece of protection. But most of my climbing was sport climbing, like you mentioned, pre-bolted routes, usually areas that climbers have gone before you and laid road maps for the climbs. And there was a time where I did trad climbing, which is where you're placing your own protection with nuts and hexes and cams and all kinds of other fancy equipment that you carry with you along the route. Got myself in quite of a dangerous situation trad climbing, and kind of just decided that pre-bolted climbing was where I really wanted to keep my passion. So that's what I did for the most part of my early to late 20s. One thing to mention is multi-pitch. That was always my favorite, where a lead climber places all the protection on the bolts, and then once they get to a point where they can anchor in, they will then belay from above the supporting climber as the supporting climber comes up and meets the lead climber and cleans the route. And then you just leapfrog, and you do multi-pitches to get to the top, and that was some of my favorite climbing for sure, where you're resting on the side of the mountain and just enjoying life, watching the birds circle below you. It's definitely a pretty freeing sport. I do miss it, and I do think a lot of the tower climbing I do carries over and reminisces some of my early climbing days. But all right, Bob, I'll send it back to you. Otherwise, I can ramble on the subject all night long. Great topic, and WD6USN. Back to you, Bob.
You can ramble on, but if you break the repeater, you have to go up and fix it. I absolutely believe that it's a prerequisite before you climb towers that you've had some harnessing, which you've had a lot of harnessing experience, obviously, with the helicopters and the rescues and things. So, yeah, you definitely are a good fit for that. And just, safety first, as always. And, the other thing about being the one that cleans the pitch and picks up all the hardware is that you got to make sure you pass it off when you get up to the person belaying you, so that they have more stuff to put back in to get up the rest of the way. Anyway, that's just part of the system, but the Dewey Decimal System. Thank you so much, Darren. I appreciate it. I was hoping, I was fingers crossing, and was even going to text you, and I thought, you know what? Darren knows what to do. He'll be there. And you were. You pulled it off. Thank you, sir. Appreciate everything you do for us and everyone in your military days, for sure. I can speak for everyone. Let's say hello to Adrian at KK6H&G. This is W6CJX, your net controller for the Papa System. Great Outdoor Net. You're up, Adrian. Next.
Good evening, Bob, and everybody on the net. This is Adrian, KK6H&G. Well, climbing was not exactly my thing. But that being said, I can't say I don't have a lot of respect, because I do, of those that do it. And I've seen at some point what kind of sophisticated equipment are they using, not just for climbing, but also for being able to camp on the rock. I mean, on the rock, it's a way of saying it. It's not exactly on the rock. Like they have, I've seen suspended, should I call them beds? No, I don't know how to call them, because they are not really tents, but they are definitely suspended platforms on which they were sleeping, cooking, whatever, in a multi-day trek. So that was really impressive. But what a view must they have. KK6H&G, back to net.
A room with a view, that is for sure. I mean, they're like a cot, I guess. They kind of fold, and they're very lightweight. And then you just, I'm not something I wanted to try. I would never try, even if I was a full-time rock climber. I can't imagine, what if you're rolling around and having a rough night sleep, and you have to, yeah, it's a long ways down. I'm sure you're clipped in somewhere there, but wow. Yep, seen that too. I do enjoy a lot of these movies out there that are climbing, whether it be Everest or any of the other peaks, or just the rock climbing. And then this Free Solo that came out was just amazing. What this guy talked about, a person that can really do it. So he's and he has speed records. He holds numerous records, including the Yosemite Triple Crown, which was Mount Watkins, El Capitan, and Half Dome in under 19 hours. Now, I guess that means he did all three. In 19 hours he climbed them? Boy. Okay. Hal, not Al. It's Al with a Hal. Good evening, Hal. How are you doing tonight? And welcome, Chief.
November 6, Hotel Alpha Lima. Hi, Bob. Thanks for having the net tonight. Let's see, climbing. Well, I climb out of bed every morning. I've been known to climb off the floor on a couple occasions. But I've never done any rock climbing other than in and around San Marcos rolling hills and small mountains as a kid. And I climbed up a few hills and mountains pulling a hose line and a nozzle. But other than that, it's the extent of my climbing. I just can't do that kind of stuff anymore. I lose my wind. I'm out of shape, and I just kind of stay in the car or walk on level ground. Back to the net. November 6, Hotel Alpha Lima.
No, I understand there. Yeah, I'm getting to that point myself too, but I did enjoy rappelling. I know I went through a couple classes I took somewhere, and it wasn't with the fire department, but it was just an outdoor class, I think up in Idlewild somewhere. But it was fun, and you know, you get to like was it Logan said, or was it maybe Darren? Someone said that about having someone professionally put all the safeties and the chocks and the expansion deals, all that stuff in there. But just rappelling off of a big boulder is kind of fun to get your legs underneath you there, because that's you don't want to go up. You don't want to do a flip or something. It could happen. Okay, well, thank you so much, Hal. As always, I'm glad you're enjoying the net, regardless if you've never climbed anything out of bed or off the floor. That's really good. Or stairs, a few stairs here and there. You probably did a few stairs for in the fire department. I'm sure we all did that. And this guy I was been talking about a little bit here, he just recently climbed the Taipei 101, which is, I guess, is a massive skyscraper down there. It was back in January of this year, actually. And I think that's the one that's on Netflix, too. It's called Skyscraper Live. He did it live and did it without any protection. But I was just going to say real quick, the free soloing versus free climbing, while both rely on physical strength to move up the rock, free climbing uses ropes for safety. Free soloing offers no margin for error, and a single slip is fatal. And that's what Alex does. He goes all the way up all these, you just have to see it to believe it. And even, I think he gets stuck at one point. But anyway, I'll let you guys see that if you want. It's awfully cool. It's very entertaining for a documentary. It's keeps you on the edge of your seat a little bit there. W6CJX for the Papa System Great Outdoor Net. Wow. Where did I go there for a second? Let's take a few more check-ins, see who's out there. Stations, please come now.
Kilo Oscar 6, Delta Alpha Yankee Zulu, this is Victor.
And that last pile up, I just want to make sure I let everyone know. I got Ellen, I got Marvin, I got Rick, I got Larry. I think I heard a Larry in there. I think I knew who that is. And I got Victor, just so you know you got in, because it was kind of a major one there. Any other stations? And we'll continue. All right, we picked up John. Good to hear you, John. We got to have John on our net every week. He is, but I just think we have to have him on every week. Anyway, welcome, John. Let's say hello to Ellen. Let's see, what's been going on? I know I've had this conversation before, but in those pictures you put on Facebook of your wonderful, beautiful property and ranch, you're not afraid of snakes? Or do you have like big, huge boots on that go up past your like waders or something? Let me send it over to Ellen. Go ahead.
Bob, I'm not going to directly answer that question except by telling you the story that's in my brain today, right now, because it'll answer it. When I was overseas, I didn't really get into rock climbing per se. It was the 1970s. The gear was different, but I thoroughly enjoyed the mountaineering training that was part of the National ski patrol training that we did for patches for mountaineering and avalanche. And so the training that I was given there has been most useful throughout my life about the three-point contact before you move and all of that. So as I go around and rock ramble here, I'm always being very cautious and aware of where I am and where my hands are. And I have a couple of trekking poles, and now I walk with a snake stick after the incident with the sheep the other day. So, yeah. And I'm not afraid, no. And I'm not afraid of heights or climbing in any way, shape, or form. My goodness, up here I've got a few rock faces down the hill a ways that they're probably 15 feet, pretty vertical. I haven't been down there yet with the sheep, but yeah, rock climbing could nah, I'm not going to do that, no. I'll just stay rock rambling and bush bashing with my hiking poles. So, yeah, good topic. Like I said, swinging from a rope, yeah, I enjoyed belaying. That was, oh, wow, I'd do that again in a heartbeat. That's why I keep bugging Darren. USN, look out. K6 Delta Victor, back to Bob.
Yeah, I know. I agree. It's just, it's fun to either know someone that climbs or, like you say, watch some of these documentaries and you just admire what they do. It's not something I want to do. I was like really kind of like not born and raised, but kind of raised in that environment. So I really wanted to do it, but I didn't as much as I did a little bit, but just a little bit, just a little tiny bit, just enough to get my feet wet. Nah, I don't know about that. Well, Ellen, thank you. So yeah, I didn't mean to change the subject on you. Sorry, I do that sometimes. But they're good. You answered it. You did exactly what you said would do. This will answer it, and I'll tell you what story or what my thoughts are that are top of your brain, and that's what came out. So perfect. That's really good. I love it. Let's say hello to Marvin. I think he's out in Redlands. Is that where it was? Whiskey 9 Echo Yankee Papa.
I just want to say that I really enjoyed listening to the experts. The most complicated thing I did was go from Poop Out Hill to the top of San Gorgonio. That was, besides, as a kid, I would jump from roof to roof in Chicago on the 3 and 4 high buildings, and I think that was more dangerous than hiking in the rock climbing. Anyways, I want to thank once again the experts that filled me in with a lot of interesting information. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Well, thank you, Marvin. I know you've been here a couple times before, so I do appreciate it. And that's, kind of what we're here for, to just, give out some information. We all seem to learn. I know I always do, and that's the reason I do it, is just bring up something I may not have known about, and then I learn that through research and development. So, sir, very good. Okay. Thank you so much. And let's say hello to Rick, KO6 DGX. Now, Rick, I've got my page open. I don't know if you want to visit that or not, but let's see. It says the Vampire, class 5.9 and A4. It takes 9 hours, and the first descent was on June 1959. Let's see, I wasn't born yet. By Royal Robbins and D. Rierick. So how's that sound, the Vampire? Impressive.
Hey, Bob, thanks for that history. I didn't even, all these years, I never even knew that. Did you say, well, you can answer this afterwards, but Royal Robbins, oh my God, he's an icon. It's like, Warren Harding and all those guys. But, real quick, thinking about the Vampire. So on the QRZ page where I have a photo, a couple moves down, it's me on the Vampire circa 1980, but just to give people a heads up, it's post-pitons. We weren't using pitons, and I have a rack that shows these things called Friends, the cam lock thing, and then you can see the wedges and stuff, and that you put into the rock, and then you pull them out as the guy comes up. That little rack right there has got to cover the next 100 vertical feet, and you never know how, you don't know what you're going to encounter unless you've done that route before. And with that being said, I'm going to float over to like free soloing. And I've told you about that time I free soloed on Talkies and got seriously stuck for my life, and like still makes me sweat. I'll be sweating in a minute just talking about it. But it was very vertical, like the vampire, and you know, I got stuck out there. But this is the thing: we were talking about free soloing, and back in the day, as climbers, we delineated. We knew free soloing is totally different. When we named it, it's called a red point free solo. A red point free solo is when you've never done the route. You don't know what you're going to encounter the next hold, the next hold, the next hold. So over a 700-foot vertical route, that's going to be serious stuff that you don't know. So other people who do these serious, hard free solo routes, if they've done them before, it doesn't count. It's not a red point free solo. So that I described to you that I got stuck on, it was a red point. I had never done that route, got stuck out there. Glad I'm here to talk to you. And then to Marvin that just talked about Poop Out Hill. My friend, yeah, I remember Poop Out Hill. I got pooped out. And then I topped out on San Gorgonio twice. And both were epic. By the time we got down, it was like 10 o'clock at night to the parking lot. Mountain lions, and then on the second one, my friend sprained his ankle at the saddle, and we still had 4 miles to go. So, like, I mean, serious sprain. So this guy's hobbling. We're in the dark. So, anyways, a lot of fun. Love the outdoors. Gotta get out there. Gotta get out there soon. Thanks so much for doing the rock climbing net here, and yeah, man, I think there's a lot more stories out there, so it'd be fun to catch up with Darren. And 512's a very lofty level that Darren got to. I didn't realize he got to that level. I got to 512A, B, or whatever, but that's a very serious high level of climbing. And over to you, KO6DGX.
Well, thank you, Rick. Yeah, it's a true man that's been up on the vampire himself. And I got 2 other books. I turned around. I got a little shelf over here that's got a few things. And I've got Basic Rockcraft by Royal Robbins. And I think that one was from 1971, published. And then there's Advanced Rockcraft by Royal Robbins, and I think that was 1973. But this little climber's guide to Tockwitz and Suicide, I just would wish you could see it. It's a kind of it's a hardcover kind of what you would actually put in your backpack while you're climbing, and you could read if you needed directions. I guess, I don't know. Oh my gosh, I would hope at that point you knew what you're doing. W6CJX for the Papa System, Great Outdoor Net. Thank you, Rick. I was hoping you'd be there, and you were, so all is good. Let's see if Larry's out there. I think I heard a Larry. I think I know who it is, MAE, but if it's not, we'll take anyone that goes by the name Larry. Welcome.
Well, yes, this is Larry, KE6MAE, coming you to Echo Lake. Because I'm nowhere near a radio tonight. I did a dump tank here a couple of weeks ago, broke one hip, and then a few days later I broke the other one. So now I'm at a rehab place down in Palm Desert, near my daughter, so she can keep a closer tab on me. And it's not pleasant. Learning to walk again and all that kind of stuff. Hopefully I can get home in the next week because I do miss my radios and all that stuff. And Bob, if you want to watch the Intersection, I think I watched it maybe a year ago on YouTube, that movie. You just plug it in and probably pull it up. It's just as good today as it was when it first came out. I think you'll definitely enjoy it. I really enjoy your net, Bob, even though I'm not a wild climber or hiker or anything like that. I was always a four-wheeler where they told us, don't get more than 25 feet from your Jeep. And I adhered to that most of the time. But I love the outdoors as well. I've done a lot of camping and a lot of traveling and stuff like that in the outdoors in the West. So you are a very interesting person to listen to, so is your net. I really enjoy it. Back to you, Bob, KE6MAE.
Well, thank you, Larry. I was hoping that was you. It was just a little snippet of Larry, and it almost didn't sound like you, but I just went for it. Well, I am so sorry to hear that. I'm hoping you a speedy recovery for sure. Gosh, well, I'm glad you're at least able to get into the net and you're able to do it through Echolink. You sounded fantastic. That beautiful voice of yours, that's worth a lot of money there. You know, if you could do a do-over, go into voiceovers. I think you have a great, great voice. But you take care and get better soon, and I'm sure you will. We'll see you out there running a race there one of these times. Okay. Thanks, Larry, as always. And Carolyn says hi. Let's say hello to Victor, WA2AYZ. Good evening, Victor, and welcome to the Great Outdoors.
Hey, good evening, Bob and Annette, W2AYZ here in Oak Park. So I have not been outdoor today, but was spending time with family. Yeah, it's a great topic. I still got involved in the climbing circles because of scouting. So last 2 years, we were organizing some of the scouts climbing activity overnights and camping in the Joshua Tree area. So Southern California is a great location for all those who love rock climbing. So I am still inexperienced. I mean, the best I could do was probably 5'10", 5'11" or so. But I think I was able to at least use some of my skills getting my antennas installed on the rooftop safely in a way, protected. And also every year we hang up the lightings on the roof, so I have two protections harness for myself while doing that. Good to learn and good to use in a way. Back to net, W2AYZ.
Yeah, I'm so glad you're involved with the Scouts as much as you are and you enjoy it. And, you know, I guess I probably should have done that too. My daughter was in Scouts. She was a Girl Scout. And I did do one of these trips. We went to Big Bear and did astronomy. They had to do their astronomy badge. And so I had a Celestron telescope. But it was, you know, we got everybody out there to take a look. And the most impressive one was, I don't know where I'm going to astronomy now, but thank you, Victor, for being there and doing all that you do with them. I won't go off on that tangent, but it was interesting seeing Saturn, I guess I should say. They thought it was like a computer image. They couldn't believe that those were really rings and that they're actually seeing Saturn. So that never gets old, I suppose. All right, thank you, Victor. And let's say hello to John, K6PFN, who does an awful lot for the Scouts too. Welcome, John.
K6PFN here. Yes, hearing Victor calling in, I said, I'm going to keep the Scout topic going. I've never done any climbing. Our Scouts do go out to Joshua Tree, and they, we get like a professional outfitter to help them, do climbing. But I did want to report on the rattlesnake front. I missed last week's net. I had just gotten back from a weekend by Rose Valley Campground, just north of Ojai. We hiked to the East Fork Lion Camp, and we saw a snake. We were preparing dinner, so it was like 5 p.m., and a rattlesnake was just meandering around our tents, and thankfully everyone had their tents zipped up. But the snakes are out there. But anyway, fun net, learn some things. So thank you for that, Bob. Sending it back to you, K6PFN.
Yeah, I love that area up there. I know Logan spent some time up there, and I had gone to do a hike at Lions West in Lion Camp, and it was in it being one of those big rainstorms that were coming in, and I canceled out. In fact, finally the host of the meetup group canceled out, but that was such a beautiful area. But you do have to cross that stream, SSB, I guess it is, or I don't know the exact name. But anyway, I didn't get swept away, but a few Boy Scouts did get stranded, and they had to be rescued. Boy, so I'm sure glad we didn't go. Yeah, nice place. Well, good. I'm glad you're getting out there and doing some camping. And yeah, the snakes are out there. We're going to go camping sometime, I think, in April. Is that what the next month is? Yeah. And we'll, let's see if there's a rattlesnake or two out there in the woods. Hopefully not. We'll just climb up in our trailer. We're a few feet off the ground. They can't reach us, I don't think. W6CJX for the Papa System, Great Outdoor Net. And thank you so much, John, as always, being there. And got to have John on the net if you can make it. If you can't make it, go back and listen to the archive. We'll have that up tomorrow. And the other station that kind of broke in was KK6R something M down in Camarillo. If you're still around, give us their complete call sign and name. And welcome to the Great Outdoors.
Sure, yeah, that's me. It's Jason. And it's Kilo 6 Romeo November Mike. And just listening in with you guys on the topic here. I don't have too much to contribute tonight, but I heard the last thing about mountain bike or about snakes. Done a fair share of mountain biking myself, and ran into a lot of snakes. And with all the rain we've had and everything, and the life out there, there are sure a lot of snakes. So be careful out there.
Yeah, we've had a couple of fatals this year, and well, it happens, but you have to be careful. Doesn't mean you're not going to, you can be as careful as possible and still something could happen. But a lot of times it's people going off behind a rock, to do some business or something as they're hiking. And next thing you know, they get bit by a rattler in the butt. We don't want that. So that's not a good thing. All right. Well, thank you, Jason, and welcome aboard. And we're here every Sunday evening at 8 p.m. for the Great Outdoor Net. And of course, we have net on every night of the week here on the Papa System. And it's good to hear from you. Let's take kind of a last call. If we have anybody else left out there that we didn't call, like to get in or rechecks are also welcome too. Please come now.
Kilo Oscar 6 Hotel Romeo X-Ray, Gary in Wellington, Nevada.
Hey, there's Gary. I've heard you off and on here and there, but I haven't heard you over here for a while. So good to hear you. And how's things going over there? And where are you at? Wellington, Virginia? No, you're in Henderson, Las Vegas, or Nevada, I think you said. Anyway, welcome, Gary. Good to hear you. I know you moved out of the area here. I'm glad you're getting in.
Thanks, Bob. Yep, pretty much straight east from Lake Tahoe. I can't give you the exact miles from there, but it's probably about 15 minutes to 20 minutes off of the 395 as you would head east on 208 in Nevada. But anyway, talking about rock climbing, disappointment. Never did rock climbing that I could speak of. But I did throw a lot of rocks. I was a big rock thrower, that's for sure. And even at one point in time, myself plus a lot of other guys when I was way younger, we would pick up very heavy rocks and kind of do like a shot put with them type of challenge. When you're bored and you're a teenager, sometimes you do some off-the-wall weird things. Other than that, I'm going to move along, and I don't have much else to offer for this round. So this is Gary, KO6HRX, handing it back over to Net Control.
Well, thank you, Gary. I let everything drop for a little bit there. Yeah, that would be kind of a fun net. Talk about skipping stones. There's an art form to that, kind of, or I want to use that term. But, when you first were taught by one of your elders, if it was your dad, grandfather, or whoever, and said, here, you take a rock and you throw it sideways like this and then get it to skip. Well, that took quite a few times for me, but I finally got it. And, of course, it has a lot to do with the rock, too. But, hey, that might be kind of a fun memory lane thing for the outdoors one night. Not just skipping stones, but there's a lot of little things we used to do when we camped. In fact, that might be coming up soon. We had a request for new campers, people new to camping. So it'd be kind of fun to share our information with some of them. This is W6CJX, and this has been the W6CJ. No, this has been the Great Outdoor Net here on the Mighty Papa System that we have here every Sunday evening. And we just have a great time, have a good little educational time on the net, get to learn a few things. Again, like I was talking about, the free solo with Alex Honnold. I don't know why it's like Arnold, only it's Honnold. Alex Honnold, he is just amazing guy, and then did all this stuff. So check him out. It seems like he's a pretty upstanding, standing up at least. Moving on. Let's see, where did my crickets go? Oh, there they are. I want to thank the Papa System for this opportunity to have the Great Outdoor Net and all the nets that we have 7 days a week here on the Papa System. Thank Cecil for his legendary leadership, and of course all the tech team. And you know who you are. We don't know who you are, but you know who you are, and they do a lot to keep the system running, especially Ed out there, THO, a good shout out to him. Hopefully he's coming to the island this summer, and Ira, and the rest of yous, and the rest of yous out there. And of course, all the net controllers, as I are one, and I do appreciate everyone checking in. Me. Pause for the cause there. There we go. And the crickets came back with me too. Hey, how about that? Anyway, I just wanted to say thank you to everyone out there and appreciate everyone participating each week. It makes it a lot of fun. Don't forget, we do have, what do we have? Oh, what do we have? Oh, don't have it. There we go.
The Papa System has a great outdoor net archive that can be found on the Papa System website by accessing the homepage and drop down the YouTube tab with over 85 episodes that you can listen to anytime. These are a non-for-profit podcast for the pure love and joy of the great outdoors and amateur radio.
And that is it. Is the love of great outdoors and amateur radio. All right, 7-3, closing the net at 21:09. I'm going to get out of here early tonight. And anyway, sure Carolyn will appreciate that. And we'll be clear in returning the system back to normal amateur use.